feel like you're here to help people quantum leap into their next level identity or jump into their next grand adventure that's part of your soul mission, or maybe you've had some paranormal experiences that are creating some fears within us around channeling, I'm going to share a Akashic record session that I just had with one of my clients in case it helps you on your journey as well. And this is going to give you a better depiction of what a soul retrieval experience looks like in case that is something you are interested in too. And hello, my name is Sage, your sparkly fairy guide. If you would like to work together, you can find that information in my bio or in the comments, and remember to give a follow to join the community. When I went into her energy field, I saw Goosebumps, the book series, which is funny because she said that she used to read those when she was a child. I saw Ghostbusters sucking up, ghosts with their machines, and also the X-Files theme song was playing. That let me know that she had had multitudes of paranormal experiences, and when I asked her about it, she said yes, especially when she was a child, but she didn't have anyone to talk to about it. It created a lot of fear because we don't have tools. How do we navigate these things? What is going on? It continued throughout adulthood, even though it was weaning off. And the reason that her higher self wanted to bring this up is her innate abilities and gifts include channeling other people's higher selves, inner children, different incarnations. She is a timeline reader. However, we can experience blockages in our energetic field because of fears of picking up on paranormal things, the ghosties, the ghoulies that we don't quite understand or how to navigate around. And so that's going to come up in a minute. Looked around, I said, I like the vibes you got going on in here because I like spooky things like that. I asked her, how is this relevant to her spiritual gifts and soul mission? And she said, people are normally afraid of things beyond the veil, but I have become accustomed to them because they have happened so often. And that is actually going to be part of my soul mission, is helping people in these areas. Then she pulled out a bag and it had ruins inside of it. Those are from Celtic and Norse mythology. This is an alphabetic system and they're on little wooden pieces. You can Google a picture of them. They work similarly to tarot or oracle cards, where each of them has messaging that can help you on your journey. They are a form of divination. She threw them on the ground. She looked like she was doing a bone reading, and I said, what the heck? Mario music started playing, like dun 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 dun. We ended up in a forest that had a lot of mushrooms, and I said, wow, you have a very vivid imagination, able to tell these very detailed stories, which is going to serve her, and maybe you too if you have one as well. As we walked deeper into the forest, we came out into this bioluminescent area, and she asked me to take a seat with her. We were sitting across from one another at a bonfire, and typically fires, when you're looking into them, represent a vision quest, something that your soul is searching for answers. She said, I want to tell you a story. I said, great, I love stories. And she said, once upon a time, there was a woman with raven hair. This is when I saw the imagery of Mulan, where she cut her hair off with a sword. And I said, why did you do that? And she said, I need to free myself from the shackles of femininity. I said, why do you need to do that? And she said, men are taken so seriously and I want the same respect. When she did this, she had a very androgynous look to her. You wouldn't be able to identify that she was a female. I asked, what was the purpose in that? She told me that she was a treasure hunter. I said, oh, like a pirate? And she said, I was on ships some of the times. I was more so an explorer. She would find hidden items that were worth value and sell them. What she was really interested in was adventures and being an explorer. The karmic wound that she was experiencing was having to hide herself and not let people get too close to her, lest that they identify that she was a female. And on these excursions, they were always men, and if they found out, obviously that she was a woman, she's either not going to be respected or they're not going to let her join at all. So she went through life presenting as a male. The funny thing about this is my client actually joined the Navy. She said that she had been a tomboy all of her life, and she thought through that experience that she would be able to have the same liberation and freedom of adventure and being an explorer. However, she was not respected in her position as much as a male would be because of being female, and she was having to hide a lot of parts of herself, including her femininity. This is where different incarnations can come in and help us heal and us help them heal. So, oh, you have a rebel archetype. You do not like being told what to do. You're not really great with authority. You think outside of the box. You do not like being constricted, which if you join the military, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have this archetype, it can be very grating to your system. She said, yes, it really was. You are also the type of person that is really dedicated to your dreams. You say you're going to do something and you do it and you follow through. As seen with joining the Navy and sticking with it. Now we're ready for the next chapter of our life. But even in our next adventure, you are going to see that with a follow through. When I was talking to her different incarnation, I asked her what the rest of her life looked like. And she said, eventually I settled down and had a family. But I'm really glad that I chose to have that experience because it was one of the best times of my life. Even though I wasn't really able to express myself fully, I got out of it what I needed and my soul felt fulfilled, which is very reminiscent of my client with joining the Navy. It wasn't the absolute best experience for her, but it did help her grow in multitudes of areas of life. I asked a different incarnation why she was here today and what she's a representative of. She said that my client is here to help people take the big leap into their next adventure by helping them find their courage and internal strength, helping them through transitional periods. If they're at a crossroads in life, going through a dark night of the soul, they feel like their growth has been significantly halted. Everything has been working in the past, and then one day it doesn't. She is here to help people catapult forward. I explained to her, you're literally going through what you're going to be helping other people with. Getting out of this one paradigm that you have been living in and saying, I want to experience more freedom and liberation in my life. I'm going to head towards that regardless of myself or other people. We are going to make this a reality, and that sometimes equates jumping into the unknown without having a solid, tangible plan, but having very deep self-awareness and trust that you will have yourself on the other side. Sometimes we need somebody who will help us reflect that we've got it and that we are going to be okay and it is going to work out for us. That was me with her in this situation. I said, you in the future are going to be that role for other people who are also going through transitions in their lives. The reason that you can do that is because you decided to exit that paradigm without having a super solid plan and trusting yourself. So you are a living and breathing embodiment of this gift. Now back to the paranormal stuff. I said one of the ways to get deeper into this gift is learn how to communicate with people's higher selves, inner children, and their different incarnations. It's going to give you a different perspective of them when they were asking you for advice and how to create forward movement. This is something that I do as well, and often I'm giving people advice from my own personal experiences and my perspectives. I don't know everything though. And some things are so hyper specific to the client that I am talking to that I need the guidance and steps from a version of them that is closer to them in their experience. It makes it so much easier. Like, here's the download and the specific steps that they need to take to get into their career or start their business. It is working with a council of persons instead of you just giving advice from your own consciousness. The issue is that because of the paranormal experiences that she has had that have been very negative, I explained that you are a sovereign being. You have to tell your energy field what you want it to do for you. Some of us are very open channelers and are attuned to multitudes of frequencies and dimensions and are not giving the tools and the methods in order to navigate those. And we end up shutting our channeling abilities off. You get to decide what you experience in your field. If you say, I am not open and available to any beings other than somebody's inner children, their higher self, and their different incarnations, that is what you'll experience. Oftentimes, our energy fields are too ambiguous with what is available to come through. I told her, as a child, those spirits and beings that you were seeing, they don't recognize that you're a child. They see someone who is very spiritually attuned and can hear and see them, so they are naturally drawn to you. Especially if you are inundating your field with a lot of things like Goosebumps books or scary movies, you are naturally going to attract those things because you're placing energy and attention on them. If you don't want to see that and you only want to have contact with unicorns and dragons and mermaids and fairies, you can do that as well, but you have to give your energy field specific instructions. And when things that are non-preferable come into your experience, you have to say, I am not open for business. No, you can go find somebody else. This is not my flavor of magic. And maybe it will be one day. I didn't start there. I started talking to people's higher selves and inner children, and then worked my way up to different types of dimensional work. But there has to be some repair with those trauma wounds in order to feel safe and secure into stepping into our abilities and gifts. Something that is really beneficial for that is listening to other channelers who really only talk about contacting different facets of a human being that are channeling other people's higher selves, inner children, and their different incarnations, and kind of staying in that wheelhouse. I do have a playlist of channelers that I have interviewed where we are talking about those things. And so in listening to that, you start to recognize, oh, I don't have to channel things that I don't want to, or I can work my way up to different types of dimensional work. So if you would like access to that, send me a DM and I will share the playlist with you. If you have a very vivid and active imagination, developing your clairvoyant abilities is going to be really beneficial. So listening to other channelers who are proficient in that gift will help you with your own. Because she is a timeline reader, and maybe you too, doing a deep dive on what timelines are and how they work, along with the observer effect. That is what we place energy and attention on, is what we get more of. That will help you as a reader with observing things in people's field. I asked about the paranormal activities again, and her higher self said that there are going to be certain people that come into her field that their specific transitional periods are to help them become energy healers and spiritual leaders. They, however, are very nervous about that because of the exact same reasons of what she has experienced, of seeing spooky, scary things when they were children, and now their channel lines are blocked up, even though they just want to experience higher self and inner children in different incarnations. But they are nervous about that because what could come through if I start my channeling experiences? There are a lot of people who feel very isolated because they don't have guides or mentors or friends who are also into these things, the woo-woo, the metaphysical. She is going to be the person that says, hey, it's okay. This is a path that I took to help me get back into it. And I'm also giving a permission slip that it's okay. This is normal. This is actually a part of a lot of people's reality, even though you might have, or you might not have anybody in your 3D experience. There are so many people in this community, and that's where I love social media, because now we're all collectively banding together and hyping each other up. But she is going to be the person that helps them with those specific transitional phases in life. So all of this is working in her favor. I asked this different incarnation if there was any other advice for her, and she said it's going to be really important to find female trailblazers, because that is the archetype that my client has. And when I looked at the definition, oh my gosh, it was risk takers who aren't afraid to try new things. They set the bar higher and pave the way for others to follow. So some examples of this might be Amelia Earhart or Harriet Tubman, Marie Curie, Jane Goodall, and even more specifically, women who have stepped into male-dominated areas and have come out on the other side, changing the collective paradigm for everyone. And it doesn't always have to be people in past history. It can be persons that are doing that currently, like Serena Williams. This gives you tangible evidence that this is available for you and other persons as well. It gives you a new level of confidence and helps you embody the energetics of these trailblazers, so that when you are in your own situations, it gives you the strength to push through. This is when I started to close the chapter of talking to this different incarnation, and I got the feeling that I needed to put my hands on her face and go like this. And when I did, I saw this being that was really sparkly and colorful, and I said, "Oh, hello." And I wasn't able to see her previously because my client and this different incarnation have a ton of masculine energy that they have been having to embody throughout both lifetimes. This was a very feminine energy that I had to get through these other chapters in order to see. To wash away the filters from the other incarnation, I took her to a waterfall, and she had this really beautiful long green hair, and her skin was made out of tree bark. She was an elemental being, and the reason that she was coming forward was to help my client experience more divine feminine energy, living a life with a lot more grace and ease, becoming very magnetic and having this ethereal energy about her, instead of having to use brute force to make things work for her throughout life or to be respected. This was shifting the way that she receives. Instead of action, 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 it is let me work on my energy internally, and then the right persons and opportunities and experiences are pulled into my field. Now, there's something to be said with swinging too far one way or the other. We can sometimes be too much in masculine and too much in feminine. So these two incarnations were coming in to be part of her spirit team to help bring balance between the two. The reason that it was important to enfold her into her journey is because when people are in transitional phases and are wanting to quantum leap into their next identity, that does require masculine energy of taking actionable steps, but at the same time, there's often scared versions of them within, whether that is inner children or an adult version of them that has experienced societal or cultural or religious programming. That is not something that can be healed with brute force. We need caring, kind, compassionate, easy type of energy to repair those wounds. Motherly type of energy. That is a completely different type of confidence and strength. Both are needed, but I was telling her that is a skill set that she will need to add to her tool bag that she hasn't experienced a lot of thus far, but it is something that you can teach yourself. Who I recommend to learn that about is on YouTube. There's a woman named Alexis. It is AWWLEXIS, Alexis. And there's another woman named Jaylyn, JAELYN, Jaylyn, Alexis and Jaylyn. They are experts in divine feminine energy and dark feminine energy. Sometimes that's really beneficial to pull them apart from one another. One's a more feminine, masculine type of energy, so you can compare and contrast and see where maybe some imbalances are there. Maybe we're too heavy in one or too light in the other. And so I recommend checking out their content. It has really helped me when I was in a hyper masculine phase of my life and really needed to learn about being in flow and listening to my intuition and being in receiving mode. Investing in a lot of content on divine feminine energy helped me shift the way that I show up in my reality and with others. And again, these are some representors of what soul retrieval experiences can look like. I typically ask my client before we meet, what are the things that you're wanting to focus on? What are the answers that you are seeking? And this can be for clients or this can be for yourself. I do soul retrievals on me all the time. Going in with specific intentions and being open to the different facets that can come through. Sometimes it's different incarnations. Other times it is inner children or their higher self. Different perspectives that you are pulling from. I like to call in different lifetimes because they have lived a experience that is very similar to you, and they have wounds and lessons and medicine to offer, and it's going to be very tangible and applicable. And not only are they helping you, but you are able to help them with their karmic wounds, and so it helps your soul grow overall. It is an adventure, a journey, a quest. It's super fun going out into the Akasha with others or within self, asking, can I see myself through a different perspective? That is so incredibly beneficial for dissecting what is going on in your life, because when we're trying to give ourselves advice, that's a lot more difficult. Okay? If you can see yourself through different lenses, even though it's still you, your higher self, inner children, and different incarnations are part of the same soul, it's a different flavor. It's going to help you be able to decipher the, again, medicine or the trauma wounds or the consciousness up levels in a different light. I would love to hear if this unlocked and activated something for you, if you feel that you have similar gifts, similar soul mission, what your biggest takeaway was. Remember to give a follow, and I hope you have a super magical day.